Hi friends, it's Angie, Angela Power Disney, angelascashes.org. I haven't done impromptu videos other than up in my field, but this is kind of, I'm going to call it Pru Halliwell, Heather Brown, PSYOP or Divine Appointment, because as one of the worst trolls I've had since 2015, I cannot bring myself to hold her in the same contempt, for instance, that I would hold Ricky Dearman or Karen Irving in. I do suspect that Heather has been somehow psyoped herself. So if I'm wrong and if I'm being naive, you can have a laugh, Heather, and say, oh, I got her again. But I just thought it was worth one more try. I've been receiving, I got a weird comment on my YouTube videos last week saying, no wonder Pru paid so much money to have a hex put on you. I'm like, what? And then different things. And now I've got this apparent African, probably Nigerian lady emailing me with more hex witchcraft stuff. And I don't want people to feel like it's not a real thing. Witchcraft and hexes, curses, they are a real thing. And they can manifest in ill health, they can manifest in insomnia, they can manifest in nightmares, they can manifest in financial issues, all sorts of ways. So Christians, need to be aware of the enemy in order to overcome the enemy. So I'll first of all just share these crazy emails, and then I'll rebut them and refute them, and hopefully appeal to Heather that I have a son the same age as her beloved son, who she's seen on Zoom calls and greeted and connected with. And I cannot imagine the agony of if I had lost him age 6 and still hadn't got him back. I did divorce the Disney father when he was 6 and my other son was 3. And there were attempts to kidnap him, and even I can't, like, there was a plan to give my eldest son to an aristocrat called Jenny Williams, who'd had 7 miscarriages and wanted a son and wanted my son. And there was a plan to actually steal my 2 sons from me and give my oldest son to her to take to live in France. It's just like I fought with every fiber of my being, but I managed to hold on to my son, and Heather didn't. And I cannot imagine the pain of losing a child age 6 that you adored and that you just adored. I can't imagine it. But I want you to know, Heather, that I never have known where your son is. You told me in one of the interviews that you tracked him down, and it was, I don't remember the details, but you told me you tracked him down. I've never known where your son is, and I've never been violent with you, nor would I be. Uh, and I think I've got good reason to be kind of upset with you, but I'm not a violent person, and that's what I'm going to talk about. But first of all, I'm going to read the emails to you. So, share screen. And I hope that's just the, yeah, I've got the emails up. Right. So last week I get the crazy call, no, the crazy comment. No wonder Pru spent so much money getting a hex put on you. And then I put up a Facebook post saying, Pru, I don't wish you any harm. I don't even hate you. I don't bear any ill will, and I've never done you wrong. And then this African lady sends me this, right? So I'm going to read it out to you. And I'll read you her email address. Cola Adeunde at tutanota.com. Hello. This is crazy shit. I remember you from Kensington in 1985. I worked at Princess Beatrice House on the Finborough Road. I don't even know where the Finborough Road is. I was on duty on the day you came there shouting. I also had a flat in the Water Garden. Well, straight away there, it's the Water Gardens. And I remember you and the other Irish lady. This is crazy shit. You were requesting information about the lady now called Pru, which is Heather Brown, as far as I know. She had a different name at that time. What I and others would like to know is, how did you first become aware of that lady? She approached me. Who made you aware of her and why? I never knew her in the 80s. Also, why are you saying that she is a fake story? I'm not saying that. Some of her story might be fake, like Ella Abraham narrative might be fake. I know that lady very well, and I saw her and her son regularly from his birth until he was snatched in 2000. I know what happened, and it is not fake news. I'm not saying it's fake news. I never have. Madam, please tell me why you are still oppressing Pru after all these years. Oh my God. Absolutely not true. I have some relatives in Ireland, and they are saying that you also know the woman called Sheila Murphy, and that you and she are involved in some gangster business together. I'm sorry to laugh. I don't know any Sheila Murphy, and I cannot imagine participating in gangster business when I'm actually having the biggest health crisis of my life. I can hardly walk, let alone be a gangster in Ireland with a Sheila, fictitious to me, Sheila Murphy. But carrying on, Prue has said that neither I nor others are to do anything about the whole situation. Well, that would be nice, Heather, if you said that. I don't know. However, this lady, look at this. I am going to intervene anyway, because you call yourself a Christian, but you are evil, and Madam Power, you are a very destructive person, and I cannot allow you to persistently attack Prue. I am from Ghana province, Ashanti, and if you were in my country doing your evil workings, we would send you back across the water to Spirit in order to stop you from this. That must be some black magic curse. So what makes you think that we will not bring Ashanti to you? Sleep well, dear lady. So, I'm not underestimating. I want to tell you a story of black magic and how real it is, voodoo and juju. Uh, um, somebody, right? My sister, I've got 4 sisters. One's dead. One of them was married to a Cameroonian, and his brother, half brother, was an ambassador in Ghana, and he was very wealthy. Probably took a lot of bribes. I don't know, but he was very wealthy, and he was in Paris in hospital, and somebody belonging to me was there with him. I won't say exactly who, but it's all on record. And but his ex-wife from Ghana arrived at the Paris hospital, the private hospital, and came in, and it seemed as though she literally placed a curse on him. And the family member of mine that was in the room was overwhelmed and astounded and shocked and taken back and much, much younger. And as this woman, the ex-wife of the ambassador from Ghana, as this woman left the hospital room, her body broke up, and it was as if there were 5 of her walking behind her. So there was just this glitch in the matrix where 5 of the same person walked out of the room. And very shortly thereafter, my sister's brother-in-law died. He just died, like just shockingly died. So I know witchcraft and voodoo, juju, unless you are protected and covered by Jesus and faith, is a real thing. So I responded, because I can't give up on Heather Pru, but maybe I should. After this, I'm going to give it to God, So I replied, I said, when in 1985 do you imagine you recall me? I said, I could trap you in that question, but I've got nothing to hide. My passport shows I emigrated to California in 1985. And I said, if you lived in the Water Gardens, how come you call it the Water Garden? There was another comment on my YouTube last week saying something like the Water Gardens is a council house development. You guys are insane. Like, go to the Water Gardens. There are porters on duty 24 hours a day. There's underground car parks. There's beautifully manicured gardens, including fountains, which is why it's called the Water Gardens. It's owned by the church commissioners. It includes Porchester Place and the Quadrangle, and it's a whole Bayswater development. So calling it a council estate and calling it the Water Garden, this is just like, misinformation. So I said, I'm not afraid of Ghanaian witchcraft voodoo. I have extended family members familiar with it, and I'm very clear it's real. But the power of Jesus overcomes every evil, and that's the truth. So I said, Pru Halliwell approached me as Heather Brown, and we did several shows together before she flipped on me and made up all sorts of crazy, paranoid untruths about me. Jesus, Lord, may you repent or burn for eternity. So then she replies again, and I'll read you the email address again. Sounds Nigerian, but I might be wrong. Maybe Ghanaian, I don't know. Kola Adeunde at tutanota.com. She says, you provide no answers to our questions. That is because you have no answer. I have answers. That's why I'm making this video. You went to America in June 1985. You were sailing around PBH. What is PBH? I don't know what that is. And Pru before that. What the hell is PBH? Oh, Princess Beatrice House, right? No idea where that is. No idea. You do not address my questions about your relationship with Sheila Murphy. I know Sheila Murphy. I note you seem to say that you will continue your attack on these innocent people. I will not allow this. I'm not attacking anybody. I haven't trolled anybody. Heather has trolled me mercilessly, and my children. Mercilessly. To beyond. So I says, I never knew a Sheila Murphy. I've contacted an ex-witch doctor from Kenya to deal with you and yours. He's long time converted to Jesus. Any questions you have? Right, and that's David Chesley. And he betrayed me by being attacked by Karen Irving and Hoaxhead Research. We'll see if he replies. He was a witch doctor. He's now a pastor. I don't know if he's good or bad. So then she says, who sent you to Princess Beatrice's house? I don't even know where Princess Beatrice's house is. There are 25 witnesses who were there that day, and so it is no good to say you were not. No Kenyan will work for you against other Africans. Oh, interesting. You are a liar and a thief. You have been taking money for other people's life history. That makes you a heritage thief as well as petty thief. Go away and shut your dirty mouth, you stupid old tinker. Wow, this woman is pretty vicious. And I say, I shouldn't have engaged. Really, I did. I should, well, maybe, who knows? I say, when in 95 do you imagine you would call me? I could trap you. Nothing to hide, my passport shows. And then I say, I've never been to Princess Beatrice's house. So your imaginary 25 witnesses are just that, imaginary. Jesus, that is who defeats Jesus. That is who defeats this black magic. May the Lord Jesus rebuke you. Right. So I'm just going to, because this has been kind of an ongoing thing where Heather imagined or alleged that I beat her up. I think originally she said 1984 when I was in Ireland, then 1985 that I beat her up in the street. And I just want to share my aversion to violence due to my father was so violent in my childhood that I'm talking Angela's ashes kind of violence, like almost foaming at the mouth kind of violence, like where we couldn't walk for a week or just horrendous violence. So my way of dealing with that in my childhood is I'm averse to violence. I would almost go as far as calling myself a coward, except for one or two occasions where I have resisted attack. I'm it's not in me to attack. I see women, especially it's getting more intense these days, that are willing to fight, that will pull hair and punch and it horrifies me. And it's just, I'm 66 and that's just not part of who I am. There was, I can name on less than one hand the times that I have got strong. And one was Gary Glitter concert in Trowbridge in Wiltshire. And it would have been about 1971, something like that. And I was grounded for something or other, but my parents went out for the night. So I figured I could go to the Gary Glitter concert and get back and they wouldn't know. And I went to Trowbridge Town Hall or whatever it was and watched the Gary Glitter concert, which makes my stomach churn. But at the end, when I was supposed to get the last bus or like get a bus back home quick, so my parents didn't find out, but I went to the ladies' toilets and there were 3 girls beating up one girl. And we used to wear ring hoop earrings and they'd ripped her earring out and the ear lobe had split and it was pumping out blood. And without thinking, I just was so horrified. I screamed at those 3 women. No logic to it at all. They could have beaten, 3 of them against 2 of us. I suppose it might have been a fair fight, but I wasn't even thinking of fighting. I was just so horrified that there were 3 girls beating up one girl and that they'd ripped her earring out. And so my pure rage scared them off. They ran. I didn't lift a finger. I didn't lift a fist, nothing. And so they ran. So that was one. The only time I would openly display quote unquote violence was within the context of karate. So my murdered sister and I, 11 months apart in age, we both trained in karate with Ian Buswell, who was a 7th Dan black belt. And he used to let us spar with each other, and he used to get so freaked out about how intense it got, he would stop us. He would call a halt. He would say, that's enough, and we were doing everything in a disciplined, legal, way. But so there's not a violent bone in my body. The only other time I defended myself was during the 1981 Brixton riots, where I got attacked by what turned out to be a rapist. And again, without any rational thought, I fought him off. Like he wrestled me to the ground, and he was trying to, rape me. And just on pure instinct, I fought back, not thinking if he's got a knife, he'll just kill me in one go. Or I didn't think rationally at all. And then finally, the way I avoided that was, I remembered a Cosmopolitan magazine article which said, if somebody is stronger than you and they're overpowering you, use psychology. So I pretended that I would welcome his advances if he would just come into my flat, which was my sister's flat, which had all my friends in there. That, like, I'd gone out for a night out with about 8 friends of my sister, and they'd all gone back up to the flat in Herne Hill, and I just ducked out to get a burger, and that's when I got attacked. So I thought, if I can get him to come in, if I can get him to think I'm inviting him into my flat, then my friends will save me. And the fact that I switched tactics and stopped being first of all, I fought him back like a tiger. And then I said, why don't you come inside? We don't need to do this out on the street. And he was so freaked out, he ran away. But the point I'm trying to make is, it's not me to imagine that I would go to Princess Beatrice's house, which I have no idea where it is, and that I would physically attack. It's just not in my DNA. It's not in my, it's just not who I am. So my message to you, Heather, Pru, is, who is wrecking your head? That the other message said something about, I was in contact with London churches in order to rally them up against you. This is crazy talk. This is crazy talk. I pray and I wish that you would be reconciled with your son. I've used you as an example. Many mothers who lose their children, they naively say, oh, when they're 18, they'll come back to me. And they have no idea about the mind control that will be exerted on their children to make sure they never come back. And then I think you were the first person, Heather, that showed me that if they manage to put a special needs diagnosis on your child, they can then say, oh, well, they're a protected adult now till they're 25. So, you won't be getting access till then. And then by then they might have twisted their minds so against you, just like I feel your mind has been twisted against me. I was never your enemy, never, Heather. I loved our shows. I felt stupid when I realized that you flipped back to the sort of Hoaxted narrative, and I've covered my costs, I've done journalism for free online and basically covered my costs. I don't make money off other people's tragedies, so, and I'm very transparent with what comes in and what goes out. It's like, it doesn't fly, but I just pray that if you, I literally am titling this PSYOP, or Heather Brown PSYOP, or Divine Appointment. Like, this is probably the last time I'm going to reach out and say, if you're believing this stuff, you're being deceived. You're probably having hexes put on you and your mind absolutely wrecked. But it's not based in the truth, as far as I'm concerned, Heather. So I'll pray for you, and don't have these people reach out to me threatening, you know, voodoo, juju, because my faith is bigger. I'm not bigger, but Jesus is, and it won't fly. And in actual fact, when somebody places a curse and it's wrongly placed, it rebounds on them, you know. So whoever that lady is, you know, you got some serious curses coming back on your own head. All right, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to say? I'm just talking to my producer, but if he doesn't, that's fine. That's what I wanted to get out there, and just to, you know, I could be being stupidly naive. Pru, aka Heather, could be the biggest psyop Hoaxted ever ran on me, and this could be more of it. Juju and like, you beat me up. She even quoted my ex-husband, my Disney ex-husband's third wife, as having met her or what have you, you know. And I actually had my son ask her, and she's like, what are you talking about? I lived in Germany that time. So this is either a psyop or it's they've messed with your head, Heather. And you know, I would do a show with you again. I would. Let's talk. Girls, have lunch. We used to have such a laugh, you know. And we exchanged some really serious information. There may have been some disinformation sown around the Hampstead case. But we did some good work. So that's it. I pray for you. And if God tells me to stop praying for you, then, you know, I will. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.